Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Sunday function chat that we have on Kettle Kitchen. I'm glad everybody's here. Looking to see who's in the chat with us. We have Tiffany from Mud and Mascara, Michelle from Big Valley Living, Sheila Wixon. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. And Two Doctors Homestead. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this just so everybody knows what we're discussing today is that all the panelists were given homework, and that homework was they had to come up with a Christmas dinner for four, not spending more than $15, and they could utilize their pantry. So we're here to find out whether they did that or not. So the gist of this is to hopefully show people that you can utilize your pantry. Don't forget about your pantry and everything associated with it and still try to get a decent meal out there. I want to say hi to Janice from Where to Begin Homestead, Jamie's Country Living, Teresa, and the notification just went out, so that's why everybody's starting to pop in. So we're going to go ahead and bring everybody up. We have Ginger and Joey with us. Thank you for coming in.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Daniel and Janet. Oh, sorry, Ginger and Joey from Not From Nothing Homestead. Daniel and Janet, Two Doctors Homestead.
Hey, everybody.
Michelle, Big Valley Living. I think it's just Michelle today.
It is.
Okay.
Hi,
and Tiffany from Mud and Mascara.
Hey.
Before we go any further, everybody functioning okay on their internet right now?
For now.
I think
For
so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, I got a message. Let me check and make sure here. Anyways, so as I stated before I brought you guys up, your guys' assignment for this conversation was to come up with a Christmas dinner for a family of four, utilizing your pantry, not exceeding $15 in cost. So I do believe everybody's completed their homework to my knowledge. Okay. And I know Tiffany has because she had said she did, and Ginger and Joey did. So I'm going to do it random draw. I'm going to wait until people are done drinking so I don't catch them on the fly. I'm going to go ahead and go with Michelle, and I'll come back the other way. So, Michelle, what did you come up with?
I'll tell you what our menu is, and then I'll tell you what we purchased and what we had in our pantry and in our yard. Does that work?
That works. However you guys want to do it, it's up to you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
So our main is what my mother always called Mexican steak. Surprise, surprise, it has bell peppers in it because apparently we like bell peppers more than we ever realized. It has sirloin steak, which that was the most expensive part of our meal. It was $8.80 because it was like £1.25 pounds, so that everybody has a meaty meal.
Mm-hmm.
6 bell peppers, we can get them for about 50 to 75 cents depending on where we go. So that was a little over $4. 2 onions, we actually grew some, so we have onions still in our pantry.
Mm-hmm.
And tomato sauce, which we also have in our pantry. And we figured most people probably already have that anyway, canned tomato sauce in their pantry, even if they don't can it. So it's a pretty simple meal. And then we spice it with chili powder, cumin, garlic powder, fresh garlic. And it's really, really good. Okay. So
it's all about the spice.
It is all about the spice, really.
It is. Yep.
So we put that in tortillas, and then the other meal is rice. And again, this is a pantry item. We always have rice on hand, and my Spanish rice is real simple because I just steam up the rice on the stovetop, and when it's done cooking, I throw in a jar of salsa. So nothing fancy,
there you go.
But very delicious. A salad. We have Swiss chard growing in one of the barrels outside. And then the dressing could either be an Italian dressing, which we like, just oil, vinegar, and oregano, salt, and pepper, or we make a lemon juice dressing, which we have lemons on the tree right now, but we're going to do Italian. Let's see. Dessert. The sides were the salad and the Spanish rice, right? We have a main, two sides, and a dessert. And so our dessert is a lemon blueberry cake. So again, I've got lemons on the tree. We all have, sugar, powdered sugar, and oil and stuff in the pantry. And we freeze blueberries during the summer so that we always have them ready.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of pantry items and being prepared and having things around the house really made this meal come together easily.
Good.
And there you have it. So we were just under $15. We were at $14.89 at the grocery store.
Okay. I'm just writing it down so I can keep track about.
I can send it to you in an email.
No, you're fine. You're fine. That's all I wanted. Just trying to keep an idea of where we all ended up.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. That sounds good. It does seem like you hit so there was criteria, and I'm glad Michelle brought it up because it's the one thing I forgot to talk about. In addition to everything I told you with their homework, they were allowed 1 protein, 2 sides, 1 vegetable, a bread, and a dessert. That was the hope that they would come up with something like that. I do want to hit a couple people. I see Mark from Little Ridge Farm has joined us. Not for Nothing Homestead. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate that. And Renee at Pike Creek Farm, thank you for coming in. All right. So let's go ahead and head over to Tiffany. What did you find in your research?
Well, I actually had to look up prices. I'm sorry, but everything was in my pantry. So, because y'all know I'm a weird like that. Gotta have all that stuff.
Okay,
So,
hold on. Before you go any further, I am going to divulge something.
oh God.
Part of the point of this whole process, hidden from you guys, was I wanted to see how much we could utilize our pantries and not have to spend money. Okay.
Oh,
So if you ended up using everything out of your pantry, you successfully completed the task. Everybody did. I don't mean that in a bad way. But
I felt bad. I was like,
you didn't, if you did not have to spend any money, that's the best case scenario, because we're trying to make it so that people don't have to, if they can, which is why I allowed the pantry as part of the use. You guys didn't know that. I didn't tell you guys that. And I know you guys did your work very well and diligently. You stuck to what the guidelines were. So nobody's wrong. I just think if you were able to not spend any money, that's that much better. So go ahead and continue.
so for mine, of course, it's going to be Mexican. It's tamales. And we have the maseca here, the lard's already here, the corn husker here, and then my sides are rice and beans. I can my meat, both pork and chicken. I can my beans, so the refried beans are already made, and I can my sauce from scratch with the guajillo peppers, the sauce that goes with the tamales. And then for dessert, I'm just going to flip it and take the maseca and make empanadas out of it with a can of apples. So it would be apple empanadas with a little powdered sugar on top.
I'm going to Tiffany's for Christmas dinner.
That sounds delicious.
It does. It does. And I hope none of you guys are offended by that, because I didn't want to mislead you. I wanted you guys to figure out on your own how to do it. And so when I say that she did the extra, she didn't even know about it. It was, wanting to try to promote our pantries as much as we can. But I couldn't divulge that to you guys without divulging that to you guys. So you guys did awesome. You guys did great. So I do want to say hi to Susan came in, Susan Ty, Alvin Lewis, Deb C. There we go. We're caught back up. So good job. So now we'll move on up to Janet and Daniel. What did you guys find?
All right. Yeah, we did the shopping deal on this, and there's some side stories here. So we'll start with the kind of most expensive item, which was the protein.
And I apologize to those who can't hear. I have been forgetting to
there we go.
in a big effect.
Yeah.
All right.
And we're going to go out in the weeds a little bit. It looks like my video. There we go. We're going to go out in the weeds a little bit on some of this, but when we were pricing it out, we were trying to stay in the 15 range. But when you get to you look at sales online and you get to the store and those sales aren't always there, which I feel is realistic. So I think we didn't hit 16. It was like 15.80. And we were looking at some substitutions, and I'll kind of talk about that. But this is the protein. This was $10.50. It was about $8 online, and it's just a boneless ham. I'm amazed since we raise our own pigs. That's a really simple piece of ham is $4.57 a pound. Hard to imagine. I mean, we have freezers full. So I had no
$4.57 a pound is what you said. Sorry,
$4.57 a pound for just basic pork.
Wow!
Wow!
Yeah, wow! Like we were pulling hams off our pigs that were like 40 plus 50 pound hams, and you've got this is 2 pounds for $10. But we got it. I'll eat it. That is the that's your protein, right? And that put us a little bit. The next item I wanted to go to, and there's a lot to look at on. So this is just a loaf of bread. Our Walmart has it for $1. We were wanting to show, hey, we did a bag of flour, but a bag of flour is minimum probably $2 for even a small bag. So if you're living, meal to meal, cheaper, how many loaves of bread would you get out of a bag of flour, even a small bag of flour? But it's, it's where you're at, right? It's what you're looking at. If you just need a meal, if you don't know how to make bread, you're paying $1 for a loaf of bread, right? So we'll go to the next item. We'll hit the sides here. We went for sides. Once again, $15 budget. I think we went about $15.80. We switched to the generic. This says it's 4 servings, right? It's buttery flavored potatoes.
Got
So
it.
you got a mashed potato.
Yeah, but fresh potatoes are
too much.
$8 for 5
Yeah,
pounds
we're like,
right
we'll
now.
get a bag of potatoes, but not for $15. You're not going to get a bag of potatoes.
Yeah.
No.
So this was, I think, maybe 80 cents or something like that. It wasn't expensive. It says 4 servings. We went generic. We got the generic mac and cheese.
43 cents.
43 cents. Yeah, it's Walmart brand, great value. So for those, right, you got mac and cheese, you've got potatoes, and then for our vegetables, and once again, if we want to kind of kick it down to closer to 15, we could have gone for 1, but they've just got a great deal on these, so we bought them anyway. It's 50 cents a can.
There you go.
Walmart. You got, let me see, I'm trying to get away from the light there. Cut green beans and then whole kernel corn. So it's $1. You got 2 cans of vegetables. That's hard to beat, I feel like.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then for desserts, once again, we could have gone a little cheaper on the dessert.
They have brownies on clearance for 50 cents a box.
But we want to stick with what we said we were going to do. So this is Pillsbury brand Devil's Food Cake. This was $1, I think, or less. $1 for the Devil's
And
Food
you need
Cake.
eggs and oil, but
we got chicken, so we
I
didn't
get
buy
3
eggs.
dozen eggs a
We
day.
literally get 3 dozen eggs a day. We weren't
I'm
gonna
like,
buy
I get
eggs.
Ow.
Right, yeah, like we're not going to buy eggs. So you got the Devil's Food Cake, and this was, I think, $1.10, and it's a vanilla frosting. So we decided to mix it up. We could have gone chocolate and chocolate. We could have gone vanilla, but this is a $2 cake, right? So you're looking like less than $2 cake, $1 for that. So that's just 3. This is a bit around 4-ish because that was 50 cents, 80 cents. This was $1. And the meat, I said, was a couple bucks more than we expected, $10.56 for that.
I'm floored at
Which
the
is like
price of
amazing. But
Yeah, that's
I mean, we
amazing.
were a little over 15, but this is a meal, right? Certainly you're going to have more bread than maybe mac and cheese. Yeah. The $15 meal, I think you could feed 4. All these say 4 servings. I said, we could have done some substitutions. We could have ditched one of these cans and said, all right, we made it. So we were pretty close. We were pretty close on 15. And
But if you only had $15 in your pocket,
right, you're
and
not
you
going
had
to buy
to go
a
to the
bag of
store,
flour. Right.
you
Right.
can't buy the bag of flour. You
Yeah.
can't spend $8 on potatoes.
Right.
You know, you can't use things multiple times
Right,
if you
right.
have to stay.
If that's all
At
you
least
got.
that gets you a meal.
Right. And we were trying to go traditional. You know, you've got ham,
Right.
you know, you've got some vegetables, you've got your dessert, you're gonna have a cake for a dessert. And then that was like $2 for a cake.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean I felt like there was a lot we took in on that, not just trying to get the best deal, but to realize, you know, if you're making it yourself, it's gonna be less in the long term, but not in one meal.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And honestly,
Yeah.
I appreciate the exercise because we haven't bought pork in years
Right,
because
yeah.
we raise and
We just
butcher
got
our own
pigs.
hogs.
Right. We're like, holy cow.
I
it's
don't even
$5 a
pay
pound.
attention to that area. when I
Yeah.
go
So then before I'm assuming you guys
Yeah.
are done with your part.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So the three that have went, meaning you two, Janet and Danielle, and Tiffany, which we already know Tiffany's answer, and Michelle, could you have theoretically done what you picked out in your menu with what you have at home?
Yeah.
Or would you have
All
to
of it.
still go
Oh, yeah,
buy some?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, we
No.
have
All of
these.
it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, she makes
utilization
bread
of
all
your
the time,
pantry, utilization of your pantry would have been successful in this meal you picked out.
Yeah. I mean, we have
Okay.
3 hogs in the
Our
freezer
first see
and
what meals we
a
have.
cow from a rancher that we
Yeah.
got last year. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just trying to throw it out. I do want to put this out there. I mean, you see on the screen, Janice says truly awesome meal for $15. Great
Yeah.
job. Jamie's
Thank you.
Country Living. Yes, another awesome meal. You're making her hungry.
He's hungry.
Renee, that'd be a nice meal and everyone would be together, simple to prep, and everybody could
Mhm.
eat, you know. And then, of course, Michelle said, Jamie, that's great. Because I think she's talking about this. She canned and froze green
Yeah.
beans this year. So,
Yeah, that's a
Absolutely.
great idea.
Yeah.
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 and
Get
there's
them all
other
in
comments.
season, you know, get everything in season and keep it off to the side. That's the whole point. If you have
Right.
space for it.
And then Lori put this up here, which again comes back to the origination of where my thought process was.
Yeah.
You could do the whole Christmas meal without going to the store. But before we go any further on that conversation, I would love to bring our next two up, Joey and Ginger. So what did you guys come up with?
Okay. So we made Italiana dishes. For,
Okay.
so this is what our menu consisted of. So for an appetizer, we have bruschetta. For the main course,
Ooh.
we have spaghetti sauce, noodles, and then meatballs. For a side dish, sauteed zucchini and onions in it too.
Mhm.
Then a salad. And then for dessert was a cookie butter cheesecake. So the things that I bought totaled up to $8.37 is what I would have bought, which would be I got one Italian loaf of bread,
Mhm.
and that can a third of that loaf was to be cut and used for the bruschetta. And the bruschetta is a mix that's home canned. They have a recipe in the all new Ball Book of Canning, and I canned it last year, and it's absolutely amazing. So bruschetta in a jar. So that's the bruschetta, and I have some fresh Parmesan cheese here already in the fridge. So just put a little Parmesan on the top. Then the spaghetti sauce is my home canned sauce. From our San Marzanos this summer. And the meatballs were a barter that I did where I bartered a cheesecake for a bag of meatballs.
I remember that.
Ooh.
I remember that video.
Yeah, so I brought that huge Ziploc bag home after we did that barter, and I split it up into several freezer bags.
Right.
And then froze the servings. So that was where my meatballs came from. My noodles came from the pantry. the zucchini and the onions, we did not have good luck with zucchini or onions this year, so I bought both of those. For convenience, I just bought a bagged salad mix.
Mhm.
And then, of course, I have the croutons and the dressing. And then, of course, with the other 2/3 of the loaf of French bread, I would slice that up and make garlic bread to go with the spaghetti and meatballs and everything. And then the cookie butter cheesecake, I had to buy the Biscoff cookies because, well, they don't stay around my house very long.
I was going to say, let's be honest about those cookies. Those cookies had nothing to do with anything other than Ginger wanted them.
No, I had to go buy them back. They don't stay around here very long.
It didn't hurt your feelings, is my point.
No, hard to buy 2 bags. Oh, I mean just 1 bag. So I bought the Italian loaf of bread, the Biscoff cookies, the bag salad mix, and then the zucchini and the onion for $8.37.
All right. Well, again, we're back to the same point, which you utilized your pantry, and that is ultimately, the point. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to bring up mine. I did mine a little different than everybody did, but there's a reason for it. So I'm going to bring it up. Okay. And mine's on a slideshow. So,
oh, wow.
My meal for family of 4 for Christmas consisted of an 18-pound and 43-ounce turkey, mashed potatoes and gravy, green beans, corn on the cob, fruit compote, which I'll explain that later if you don't know what that is, dressing, cranberry sauce, pumpkin pie, pecan pie, rolls, and a pickle tray with olives and pickles. Okay.
Under $15.
Hold on a second.
Dang.
The total spent was $0 because I utilized my pantry for everything I made.
Wow.
Good.
Okay. So
Nice.
everything in there. The turkey I have in the freezer. We have 2 turkeys in our freezer year round, specifically just because. Mashed potato, obviously potatoes we have in our pantry. Gravy I made from the turkey. Green beans were frozen. Corn on the cob was frozen. Fruit compote, I just took canned fruit or fresh fruit, whichever way you want to do it. And in the juice, you mix in some Jell-O. Dressing, home canned cranberry sauce, pumpkin pie, and pecan pie. Those are in my pantry, and I made the crust homemade. All pantry items. Rolls, pantry items, and then a pickle tray and olives. They were also in our pantry. So,
wow.
All those things, again, ultimately for me, hold on, I'm trying to get that off. The whole point is you can make it if you're stocking up your pantry. You can make your meal without ever having to go to the store. That is the point.
Yeah.
So in year-round planning your pantry, you should theoretically be able to put all of these meals we've all talked about out of a pantry.
Yes.
Now, the way I stock my pantry is going to be different than, say, Tiffany, because Tiffany is more centered around Mexican style food, and I get that. But she will still be able to, like she said, she can go into her pantry and make all of her stuff. The same would work, I am assuming, for Ginger and Joey. They like Italian food. So their pantry is probably going to have more Italian type of stuff in it. And that's not to take away from Daniel and Janet or Michelle. They have their styles as well. But I'm sure your pantries none of our pantries look exactly the same. Okay. So my point is, utilize what's in your pantry. It's so important to keep it stocked up. It's important to take inventory of it. It's important to make sure you've got it full, which leads me to the next thing. We're not going to have Sunday function chat next Sunday because it's Christmas Day, so we're not going to do that. But I do believe we talked about on New Year's Day we will come back and have it. That being said, I think that would be the day that we need to start putting out, how do you set your pantry up for the year? What forms, what apps? We've talked about that before. I think Daniel's bringing his app along to show us. Tiffany's got some stuff, I know that, and I'm sure Michelle and Ginger do as well as others. So I really want us to be able to hit hard in this conversation come the first of the new year, being able to provide people with information and how they go about stocking up their pantry. And I'm assuming all you guys are on board with that.
Yes.
Okay. So did anybody learn something they didn't know out of doing this homework?
I can throw meal in my pantry that's fancier than just rice and this. I mean, I can like almost put together a 4-course full-blown Italian meal here. And if I could have gotten onions and zucchini, I can't make those dang Biscoff cookies. I wish I could.
But don't forget, you know, the other thing that goes along with it, if you're having a bad season and you know it's a bad season, go out and buy some and freeze them.
Yes.
Or dehydrate them or freeze dry them if you got those options available to you. Because in this time when you wouldn't have had an abundance of those vegetables, you could have had some stored off to the side. So, you know, and I'm not telling you anything different you don't know, but
no, and I think it bears repeating. I know that we've said it and it's kind of what you said, but for people looking at this, if you're watching any one particular channel and how they stock their pantry or what have you, or you can see the variations here of how we do it. Just because somebody is canning such and such, don't run out and can it if you're not going to eat it.
Right.
Yeah.
Do not get that emergency head. Oh my gosh, they're stocking that up. You may not like it, and you have 12 jars of something there that you can't stand and you're not going to eat.
It's a waste of money to you and a waste of very, very precious real estate, as I've heard stated before.
Yes, but you can do like little Missy down below me here and do something that was a complete and utter, she couldn't stand the taste of it, turn it into something else that's fantastic, right, Tiff?
Yeah. I did that with some soup.
Yes.
Tiffany, would you mind explaining that so people know what we're talking about?
Well, I was watching another YouTuber and she made this soup that was called pizza soup. And I was like, I love pizza. I could eat pizza every day, 24/7, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I love it.
Yes.
And it's funny that we make so much Mexican food, but I love pizza. Well, this soup was horrendous. I couldn't eat it. So it sat in the pantry and I kept looking at it and I did a big batch of it. I think there was 16, maybe 18 jars. And I kept looking at it and I was like, I have got to figure out something to do with this. So I took it and put it into a small pot because it did taste like pizza, but it was just gross because it was beans. It wasn't pizza. So I just put it in a small pot and took the emulsion blender and blended it up, and it made a pizza paste, and that's what we use now on all of our pizzas for the base.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea, and I think it gives people an understanding of how, just what Ginger said, you can take a fail in the sense of taste-wise and turn it around and make it an advantage. Now, the other thing that goes along with this is what Janice is saying here. She does stock a few items that they don't like, but she uses it and she can trade with them or barter with them, you know, for something that they do like. Please don't ever forget to, if you got the opportunity, bartering with people is a great idea. It is a wonderful idea. Both sides benefit, and especially if it's something they don't mind doing and you don't mind doing, it's not a loss to either side because you're getting something out of it. So,
yeah.
Which also, I think, you know, And we're still going to do this. We're waiting. We've been instructed probably. I know that 2 or 3 of us had been instructed by food banks to hold off until well after the holiday season. But I do want to hit back on what can I do from the food bank? What kind of meal can I make from the food bank? So I do want to reapproach that later down the road. I do want to say hi to Roberta from Roberta's Artistic Adventures. Thank you for coming in. Anybody else have something to add?
Just surprised at the cost of everything right now. It's almost overwhelming. I mean, we went to Walmart, which is not supposed to be an expensive store. Like, we stay away from some of the more expensive grocery stores.
Right.
And we had less than half a cart of food, and we were just blown away at how expensive food is right now. I mean, as Jan was saying, we don't even buy protein very often because we raise our own pigs and stuff like that. We don't buy eggs because we've got our own chickens. It wasn't a big cart of food, and we were just like, wow. I mean, there was a time where you'd be walking out of the store with 2 shopping carts full of food for that much money. So just amazed at prices right now, and how there's like, they might keep going up. I mean, when you look at everything going on in the world, there's vegetables went up 40% this month or last month. Like, I don't know what people are going to do.
I live in the state where a lot of the cauliflower is grown. It's only a few hundred miles away, and the cheapest I've seen it is $5.49 for a head. And it's not unreal. He's spending $6.99 a head. And iceberg lettuce is $3 to $5 a head, and there's no way I'm going to pay that. There's just no way.
You can't even get it here. Like, we can't even get iceberg lettuce here. Should I grab? Do we have that thing we got? Whatever it was. I'm going to grab something. It blew my mind. I'm going to grab this thing here.
Okay.
And we go out to. We stock up every summer at a U-Pick farm that we have near fall, and we pick up all kinds of different winter squash, and it overwinters very well in the pantry. So don't forget about that. Even if you don't want to can it, if you want it fresh, you put it in a dark, shady spot, and you're going to have some really nice winter squash throughout the season.
Yeah,
that was almost $2.
What was
that? That is a head of.
That's a baby cabbage.
It fits in your hand. That fits in your hand.
That's $2.
That's all they had for
this
cabbage.
That tiny.
That was it. Well, like, what is that? Almost $2 for that.
I went into my
50 cents.
I went into my store, and that same size, obviously the bigger leaves had been pulled off, so it's even smaller, was $4.99 for the head.
Yeah, for that.
Which is really sad, because all the fresh stuff, what I learned from this is all the fresh stuff, and $8 for things of potatoes, or I could just spend 65 cents on those potatoes that are filled with chemicals and a lot of sodium. For me, I have to be very, very low sodium in my diet. And I told him, I said, you can buy a lot of really unhealthy pre-processed foods at the store to feed your family right now for $1 or less. What are we as a society going to do? I mean, we're pushing people away from the produce section and from the whole food section and into this processed stuff. I said I could go right now to McDonald's and I can feed a family of 4 for less than it would have been of what the stuff that I put in my cart. And that is really sad.
Wow.
But that's how everything is these days. It is cheaper to do that.
Amazing. Yeah.
That's why people are getting
cheaper
sicker.
to go out to eat.
Right. That's why we're getting sicker.
Yeah.
Well, and unfortunately, it does seem like that's where we're being pushed.
Yeah.
Is to go out and eat, to go buy the. I mean, we've talked about this before. I'm not new revelation or anything, but we've been pushed, and we're being. What's the word I'm looking for?
Forced, pushed, guided. I'm trying to get in your head,
manipulated, I
Tony.
think is the word,
Manipulated. That's a good one. That's a good word.
into following that this is the way of life and this is how we got to do it. And it's
Cindy.
like, no, it isn't.
Cindy said conditioned. Good
Conditioned.
word.
Conditioned.
Yes, that is the word I was looking for. Thank you, Cindy. Welcome in, by the
Gaslighted
way.
is a good word.
And Renee was saying that at her Walmart they had no iceberg or romaine
Mhm.
hearts. Those
They
are
don't,
big.
not at ours
None.
either.
None.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you look and see what Jamie's Country Living said, for 2 vanilla beans in a spice bottle, and I know exactly what she's talking about because I've seen it too, $12.98.
I got you.
Wow.
I got you beat. I went up to go see if I could find some because I was gonna make something with it. It's $18.98 at my local store
Wow.
For 2
Wow.
vanilla.
Wow.
for 2 vanilla beans in the spice bottle.
Saffron prices.
Yeah,
Saffron.
exactly.
Yeah, let's not even talk about
Right.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
$1,000 for a piece of
Right.
saffron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if I
Unbelievable. I don't know.
thing too. When I was at the grocery store grocery shopping, I also needed to pick up some AA batteries.
Yeah, don't get me started on that either.
Costco.
$dollars for, I think it's an 18, maybe 18 pack at Walmart.
How much?
Walmart. And they were out of the Energizer and out of, because it's close to Christmas and there's so many battery operated things there.
Mhm.
They were out of the Energizer and the Duracell. I had to buy the Rayovac.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
Again,
Go
ridiculous.
rechargeable.
again,
Rechargeable.
but
Yeah.
rechargeable is a great idea. It is, but I
We
mean,
do that on
it
all of
also
them.
goes
It's buy once, cry once. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
but it's part of the conditioning process. That's what I'm
Right.
trying to say.
Mhm.
We limit the supply that's out there for you to get, so we're forcing you into buying what's left over, and because you feel the need to have it, which in some cases you do, I'm not knocking that, you will
Gotta
go
have food.
spend you'll go spend the same amount of money for the one-time use battery because it doesn't last very long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Cindy Brown's got a good price where she's at.
Yeah.
Where are you at, Cindy? We're coming there. We're driving.
Yeah.
I think she's in California, if I remember.
Yeah.
Really? I was looking at that picture of the beach. I was thinking like Maine or something like that with that beach picture, but it could be California.
Oh, those are good prices. I'm not seeing those around
No,
here at all.
nothing like that. Yeah, and we're rural where we're at.
And
usually it's cheaper out here.
Yeah.
Janice is correct with the polar vortex we got going through. We're probably going to lose even more produce now because of that.
Yeah.
So, the conditions will continue to go worse. I think if you have a means, this is my own opinion, I'm not supported or affiliated or endorsing anybody. But if you can do the freeze dryer, if you can buy freeze dried items, if you can dehydrate certain things, if you can get it and freeze it and store it away somehow, then it'd be better to buy it at the price it's at instead of waiting until it's another dollar or two higher. Yeah.
Doubles again next year or something.
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
I mean, we were kind of depressed coming out of Walmart. And it's like, this is not supposed like HEB's down the street and it's like twice as expensive. So you
Right.
get HEB, you're going to spend a lot more. But we have Aldi's in town, and it's really not much cheaper than Walmart. Sometimes you get better deals at Aldi, but
no, when you
like,
can
people
get
need
something for
food.
$1 at Walmart, you can't even get a dollar to the dollar store. It's $1.25 now.
Right. Yeah.
But the flip side of that goes back to what Tiffany and Ginger they preach it every time we talk is do it by the ounces. Don't do it by the $1.25, because sometimes you may actually be spending more in the long run trying to get the cheaper price. So if you portion buy, you're better off to get the better deal.
Yeah. And learn to cook.
And
Absolutely learn to cook. Learn to cook.
Learn to cook. Learn to
And
can.
then, if you have a corner in your house somewhere that isn't used, and I know not everybody does, but if you're lucky enough to have that, get a small shelving unit, invest. I mean, at this point in time, invest in some grow lights and have a small vegetable patch in your own home. You don't have to get a big greenhouse. You don't have to have any of that. But you know what I'm talking about. Just those like 3 foot long by 2 foot
Yep.
deep. It's sort of like what Tiffany's got in her pantry that she's building to show a sample. You could have a lot of decent vegetables, especially the greens and everything.
Mhm.
Right.
Dust the shelves. Maybe have yourself some fresh tomatoes or something. Cherry tomatoes are easy to grow, and as long as they're warm enough, they never stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I think, well, before I even go any further, I'm going to push a certain individual who knows who I'm talking about when I say this. It would be lovely to have more growing things inside your house videos out there, but I'll leave it at that.
All right,
Tom,
I'll do it, Tony. You got me. I'll do it, Tony.
Okay. Anything you can do to cut your prices down in the end is the ultimate thing you want to do. Now, if that's stocking up your pantry so you got the prices that are today and not what they're going to be in 6 months, a year down the road, if you can grow your own cabbage and lettuces and things like that, do it. Tomatoes, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You're only making your situation better for you and your family, less expensive in the long run. And I don't know what else to say other than that.
I think you're right, Tony.
I think that most people that are in this chat probably realize this, but I work for a grocery store now, and these prices are not going to change. We have seen projection for 2023, and we are price increase are set out for the next year every week. So
You mean they're not going to go down? Well, they're going to
No.
go up, though, right?
they're going up.
Mhm.
They're going up every week for
Yeah.
2023. So if you have the means, even a small amount to put aside for yourself, I would suggest doing it. When I'm at work, I see people come in there and have very, very minimal amount of money trying to find something to eat in there. You know, where is the dollar aisle? Because we literally have a dollar aisle at our store. It's not $1.25, it's $1. But there's no food on it. It's all gone.
Right.
So, you know, and a lot of people who are doing that don't know how to cook beans from scratch that are $1.
Right.
You know, it's just sad. It's
It
very
is.
sad.
Yeah. And that's why I was saying you gotta learn to cook right now. I mean, I think that's your
Yeah.
only option, you know.
Mhm.
Well, I happen to know a few people that know how to cook as well. So, you know,
Yes.
Yeah.
If I say
Right.
one thing too,
yeah.
I shop at Ingles, and I know a lot of people call them like manager specials, but
Mhm.
I usually, when I go in there on a when I'm going and I go early in the day, and Blue and I have talked about this as well. When I go early in the day, the first place I go is I beeline it to the meat department. They almost always have things that are going to be a sell by date in like 3 days.
Mhm.
And that's kind of their rule of thumb is 3 days out, they're going to mark it down at least 30-40 cents cheaper a pound.
Mhm.
I mean, and usually sometimes it's even more than that, but almost even over down to the seafood. Don't be afraid to grab those things. And I see that you had put up a comment from Tom Garvey. Hi,
Oh
Tom.
yeah.
Right.
I want to say hi to Tom and to Q from Growing with Hudson, both of them.
Yes. He
I-
and I were talking, Tom and I were talking, and he buys in bulk and then sections it out
There
and
it is.
freezes it because it's just the two of them. And that's such a good way to do it. And even if you do that with the manager specials, if you take it home, section it out, and freeze it, I mean, you're really saving yourself a lot of money right there.
No, I think you're right on that. You've got to get the deals where you can because prices are getting crazy.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Where's everybody going?
I don't know. It got really quiet.
We're typing and chatting.
Right, everyone. But no, you're absolutely right, Ginger, on that. I mean, you gotta watch for those deals.
This is the Two Doctors show now.
Tiffany had to step aside just for a minute. I was answering a question.
To do some indoor gardening, though. I mean, we're, you know, it would be neat to show people how to do it too, right? 1 shelf, 2 shelves. How do you make each shelf work best for you and your family?
Right. Yeah. I think, you know, because Cindy put something up out here and she said, excuse me, she doesn't have a garden area. You can do it in buckets. You can do it on your windowsill. You can do it.
Depending on your lighting, though. I have a hard time. I'm challenged putting plants inside of my house just because we're facing the wrong direction.
Right. Yeah.
So we have to constantly move our plants to the sunny windows and then make them suffer. So
right.
Grow lights are everything in our house.
Yeah. California's big on the grow lights.
Well, we have barrels too. So we find the sunny spots and push them out there during the day. And then in the summer, we move them back to the shade so that things don't bolt.
Right.
Or if you have that ability and you do have a patio, think about that too. You can create your own little grow zones depending on the season and what you want to grow.
You can create your own little what, did you say?
Microclimates, grow zones within your own property.
What did you call it, though, out of curiosity?
I called it a grow zone.
I thought you called it something else. Sorry.
That's okay.
No.
Maybe it came out wrong, but I meant, you know, like, because you can, there are 2 places on my property that I can grow artichokes and blueberries year round. But that's a dedicated space forever and ever, right? So if I put it in a barrel and I move it around, or if I put lettuce in a barrel and move it to the shade in the summertime,
right,
then I've extended my garden areas.
So, and in the rotation of those, you've created microclimate. I get what you're saying now.
The microclimates here are usually sun in the morning and shade in the afternoon. It's got for artichokes. They won't do anything if they're in full sun here. They just bake.
They bake, yeah.
Well,
and like Growing with Hudson saying, and I think it's important, if you can do $2 or $3 extra and buy 2 or 3 more of the things you find on sale, just add it to your pantry. It's going to help you out in the long run. So,
yeah.
So
somebody was saying that they had, I'm sorry, Tony.
No,
they had
you're fine.
Out of their pantry. I can't remember who it was, and I don't know if I'm going to find it if I go search the chat. But you could take that same $15 if you saved it and restock your pantry.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about a continuous rotation. It's not, you can't go into it and use $15 out of it and expect that pantry to be there when you need it, because you're going to do that 6-7 times. Your pantry is going to start having a big hole in it. So if you're not replenishing what you're utilizing, then you got a problem. So it's a routine you have to get into. It is. The other thing is too, and I don't want to come across as minimizing the work you guys did, because I struggled with how I was going to do this assignment, and a part of me wanted to go out and find the best thing I could for the price that was allotted. Okay. But the more I thought about it, is that it's really important to utilize what you have on hand. And I know we've talked about this before, and I know Tiffany does it all the time. I know Ginger does. I'm assuming the other 2 channels do as well. Shop your own store before you go to the store.
Yep. That's how we plan our meals.
You have to. It doesn't work unless you do, or it's a waste. I mean, one of the 2 things are there. So I think it's important that people would, want to do that. If you're going to take the time and the effort to build a pantry, then utilize it.
And the better stocked you are, the more choices that you create for yourself. Hamburger can be 15 different things, right? It can taste 15 different ways. Or ham, we have a ham that we're going to have for Christmas. and we've talked more about what we're going to do with the leftovers than
Right.
the meal itself. How many pounds do we want to cube up and put in the freezer in one
Right.
cup increments? And that's
Usually,
going to be a big deal for us Christmas night. That's going to be our gift to ourselves.
right.
Mhm.
But usually when I go buy protein, I'm looking at it. Okay, if I get a package, just hear me out. I'm not saying you do it or I do it or whatever, but it's the thought process. If I'm looking at a package of hamburger, we'll just say, how many meals and what can I do with it? Before I even buy it, I'm already thinking that process.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people get sucked into, oh, there's 3 pounds of hamburger. I'm going to buy it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I got it, which I think helps to a degree. But if you're not plotting out what you're doing, it's almost kind of, it's just, excuse me, it almost seems like you're self-sabotaging yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Buy 3 pounds and then you use 1 pound that night. You put the other 2 pounds in the fridge and you think I'll use them. Then you forget about them. Then you've wasted 2 pounds.
There is so much waste. I hear people on just that alone because you don't do it immediately. I mean, you get that home. Okay, put the pound aside that you're going to use and automatically put it in the freezer.
Yeah.
Or if you have a seal meal, think about that, right?
True.
Break it up into however you usually cook it. And if you don't have a seal meal, think about cooking the hamburger for like the kind of things, the ground beef that you would normally eat. Like if you like Mexican food, we do. So we'll automatically throw a couple, like we'll spice it up with cumin and garlic and chili powder and throw it into a baggie, roll it up tight and throw it in the freezer. And that's another really quick meal. If we decide we wanted to have a taco salad one night or some tacos, the meat's already done.
Yeah.
Right.
Or burritos or something. So you don't have to throw it in your freezer like raw. You could help yourself out too for quick weeknight meals.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Janet just canned, what was it, like 20 cans of sloppy Joe mix.
Yeah, the sauce.
So it's all the sauce so that you just add hamburger to it, you
There you
know,
go.
and it's ready to go. So it's a meal minus the hamburger ready to go.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of people have a problem with if you make a meal and you have like that tiny little bit left. It
Excuse
just
me.
kind of sits in the fridge. They don't know what to do with it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like this morning for breakfast, we had some meat left over and we had some potatoes left
Yeah.
over, but it wasn't enough for a meal. So I just diced the potatoes up that were already cooked. And I put them in a pan and fried them and added some onions to it and then diced up that meat and put it with it. And then I topped it with 2 poached eggs.
Right.
And I turned a dinner into a breakfast.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's usually my go-to the day after a holiday. I'll
Mhm.
take leftover stuffing, I'll put a little meat in it, and then I'll
Yeah.
drop 2 eggs on top of it. That's
Yeah.
usually a go-to.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you've never seen this show Chopped, I think a lot of people show
I love
Chopped.
that show.
I mean, that's almost like what we're living in now. You're like, I've got a leftover hamburger and some, 3 zucchinis and a dead cricket. All right, what are we gonna make? This is gonna be great.
And the kumquat.
Right? Yeah, and a kumquat, and something that's probably poisonous. What are we gonna make,
Right,
guys? What do we
right.
got?
We used to play that game when we were watching that regularly. We would actually do that about once a week. We'd make a game out of it at home.
Yep.
Mhm.
To-
That's almost where we're
We
at.
would say what's getting ready to expire and go in and what meat's been around the longest or whatever.
Right,
And pull
yeah.
those things out. And it was
But again,
fun.
but again, adding that into your thought process, you've already got a meal plan theoretically for one night out of the week or one breakfast out of the week or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing it, just the forgetting to do it is the problem. And we
Yeah.
usually all don't go to the refrigerator until it's time to clean it out because we need more space or something ain't smelling good in
Right.
Tokyo,
It's a time thing, though, right? I mean,
It
you
is.
get in routine. Sometimes extra time is hard. It's hard
Yeah.
to get that extra time to.
It's
make-
also knowing your food too, because you got to
Mhm.
know how, if you got produce, is what time of year is it going to go bad faster than other times of the year?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think as the cost of food continues to go up, people are going to have to make the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, you're
Tom
gonna have
Garvey
to-
says dead crickets are not keto. So
I think they're protein. I think they're keto. They're not carbs. I'm pretty
No.
sure crickets are keto.
Even if you take the legs off, Tom, are you
Yeah.
sure?
They're
No, I
pretty.
think
Yeah,
they-
they're keto. I think original keto was crickets.
No, I think they have to be alive to be keto.
Is it okay? Well,
have
we
to
got
be
those too.
alive.
We got live ones out here, plenty of them. I think
Okay.
they put the K in keto was cricket, right?
I'm not eating crickets, okay?
what was that?
No, me either.
Gone from the show Chopped to Naked Afraid. We're eating cricket.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen chocolate covered crickets on Chop
Mhm.
before, so I know that they do.
It's a
refer-
real thing. It's actually
It's a real thing. Yeah.
It's actually
Yeah,
it's
I'm
not in my house,
Pull
but
the
it's a real
chocolate
thing.
off of those crickets and just use the chocolate if you really
Yeah.
don't want that cricket.
You could do it that way too. Yeah.
You can never get the cricket off the chocolate, though. I mean, once the chocolate's
That's
been
a
on the
good point.
cricket, you're never getting the cricket off the chocolate.
I watched a video last night. This is going to gross some people out, and I'm not even going to go into the conversation, but you'll get where I was at. I was sitting there watching it, and all of a sudden, they're in Kazakhstan. I can never remember how to pronounce that. Somebody help me.
Kazakhstan?
Kazakhstan. Thank you. Kazakhstan. And they take cow lung and fill it with milk and boil it, and it's a delicacy.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
mean,
like, okay,
when we
I get it to a point, but there is
Yeah.
no way I'm eating it. I'm here to tell
it's
you.
a dog treat.
No.
When we butchered the pigs, I mean, it's it's an animal, right? At
I mean,
lungs.
unless you've
There's
butchered an
lungs are there.
animal,
Right, lungs
you
are
don't know
there.
what lung the consistency of lung
Yeah,
is, and it
right.
is
You butchered an animal.
squishy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a marshmallow.
Right.
Janet, I'm
And-
not doing it. I don't care.
I don't
gonna
want to
do
do
it.
it. I
No.
just don't. I mean, I have enough fat on my body to take me past having to eat the lung.
There you go. Yeah.
Isn't it true that the lung tissue is what they use in the hot dogs that plump when you cook them?
They might.
I have heard
I
that.
have heard that.
Whether to prove
It
that or not, I
counts.
can't help you. But it
It's
does.
still
make sense.
it's still
No.
pig.
It's still
I'm saying
technically.
that's
pig.
definitely not keto.
Yeah.
Right. That's not-
The lung is
It's
totally
not
keto. I mean, that's part of the animal. I mean, it's absolutely
You might have to fill it with something other than milk, but yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Tail to the squeak is all keto.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yep.
sure.
There you go. So welcome in, Tom. I didn't mean to skip over you. Welcome back in, Lori. I see you in here. And
I'm feeling after the
Arlene
new
the
year
Short is there too.
that
So
Tony's going to start sending out basket ingredients to us.
Right.
Yeah,
Get the
that's
basket
a lot of
ingredients.
That would be a lot of
all I
fun.
gotta say is
That
all I
has
gotta
been
say
tossed
is
up.
that's not my gig. That's all I'm saying.
I
It
want
could
to
be
go
your
down to
show.
Vegas and get
You
some
know
of those
what? I'm
red
pretty
beans
sure
that
Tiffany and
Tom
I could do it because you just take anything and just put it in some dough, and she's gonna make it an empanada, and I'm gonna make it a hand pie from Wisconsin. So,
had.
bam,
Yeah.
it's done.
The secret list. The secret list of items.
Mhm.
You don't have to actually mail the items.
Oh, that's gonna.
Ooh.
That has been
That-
tossed up.
Jeez, Tiffany, that's a
I know.
thought.
I know. That has been tossed up.
That has been tossed around, actually,
No.
believe it or not. So, and that's all I'm saying on that. I'm not saying anymore. Anyways,
All right, you got to
moving
save
on.
something for next season.
Yes. Again, because we're winding down now, we're almost at 59 minutes. So, I just want to make sure everybody knows that any of us are here to answer any questions you have that we can do to help you. It may not be our answer to give, but we know enough people that we can find somebody that knows what the answer is.
And I think
Please,
we all have an email address on our about page.
Mhm.
I
Don't
believe so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiffany?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Michelle?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just for clarification, do any of you mind us giving your email address if somebody
No.
comes to us
No,
and we
not at
can't
all.
answer it, but we know you know the answer
they
or
can.
can lead them in the right direction?
I just put
I
mine
mean-
in the chat.
Okay.
I've
That'll
gotten
work.
like 3 emails, so it might take me a while to reply. I'm still working on the first 3 we got.
I also, because we're not meeting up next Sunday, I want to make
Yeah.
sure everybody has a safe Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, please have a safe holiday time. Spend time with
Yeah.
your family. Get the best out of it that you can, because life's too short not to enjoy it. And to you guys, thank you. I appreciate you guys always. Everybody in chat and mods, 100% appreciated. And I want everybody to have a good time, please.
Yes, thank
But
you
Thanks, guys.
for allowing us
we
to go down our different, taste buds and
Right.
and hopefully help somebody each different time.
Yes, yeah, and that's what it's about. I think that's what differentiates us from other communities, is that we're overly more than welcome to help people out
Mhm.
without
Oh, yeah.
hesitation, and
Oh, yeah.
and that's really what's important. I think it's kind of like a mix of what Daniel said and a mix of what Tom said. It's becoming a challenge, and it's overwhelming to walk into a store and try to get what you used to, because it isn't going to happen.
You can't. It's not going to happen. It's
No.
not.
And so if we can help with little different ways, or, it's how my show really, when I started videoing my cooking videos, it was, how do I take what somebody else will spend $40 on and spend $10 on? That's what it was about,
Mhm.
because even though it's not fresh, meaning it's in a can or it's frozen or something, doesn't mean you can't still have a good meal,
Yeah.
So
Tom, Tom's gonna go have long under glass.
anyway, thank you everybody, and you guys have a wonderful break, and we'll be back here on January 1, 2023 at 2 p.m. Pacific
Season
time.
2.
Season 2. Yes. I don't want to call it season 2 because I haven't hit my 1-year anniversary, so it wasn't sure if it fit or
When is
not.
Season
yet.
When is that?
February 1st is my 1 year.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. And that is just for everybody, since we're on that conversation. That is when I am going to do my 1,000 giveaway. I'm going to do them both at the same time. So
Nice.
Crickets for everybody.
chocolate covered.
Can
You
I
get a
do-
cricket,
Chocolate
and
covered
you get a cricket.
Can I do a really quick
What was
shout
that?
out?
What was that?
A couple hours? No, an hour. Renee's gonna Pike Creek Farm is gonna do a giveaway for the indulgence.
I don't think she's doing the actual one. She had to
Indulgence
modify that.
Oh, okay. Well, then
Yeah.
thanks for telling me that, because I was
But-
kind of planning my day around everything.
She
so-
still is. Go
Are
ahead.
you in-
Ginger, go ahead. Ginger's got info.
Still, if you look on her community tab, she made a post, Michelle.
Okay.
Still gonna do. I think it's gonna be a small live, and give a couple of things away. But it's not. I think she has postponed the live giveaway for the 12 days of indulgence to Wednesday.
Cool. Good to know. Thank you.
There at 7.
Good
Yep.
for everybody here to know. Thank
Yep.
you very, very much.
Yep. All right, everybody. Well, you guys have a good
Oh,
time, and thank you again. What?
And there's Renee right there in the chat. She said,
Yep.
"I
Oh,
partial giveaway from the live comments." So
okay.
Thanks, Renee.
Thank you, Renee.
That
Yeah.
was that was just a really fun collaboration.
You know,
so-
actually, I want to take an extra couple of seconds here and have that conversation. All the collabs I was involved in December actually were fun to do. I enjoyed doing them, and they were great. I think the host did a good job. Some things a little wonky, but it's a learning process, and that's how we all learn. And so it was good. It was fun, and I enjoyed it. I'm just glad you're going to hear me say this. I'm glad they're done.
No,
I
I
am-
mean throughout November, you're like, oh yeah, I want to do that. Oh yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you're like,
I don't know how some of you did as many as you did. I was like, whoa,
I
that's
sat and
a lot of work.
counted it the other day. I've done, I think it was 16 collaborations since
Wow.
April. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a
That's
They're
a lot.
fun to watch though, and I've
Yeah,
gotten a lot of really neat ideas from watching the
Yep.
collaborations.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I learned I want to go to Tony's house early so I can eat the dips.
Right. Those dips were
That's
great.
what I Get there early or you're not getting.
Yep. And
Yeah.
that is true. They
Yeah.
don't last very long around my house at all.
And Renee is right. It is a crazy time of year to fit all of those,
Yes.
you know, everything else into you're just taking care of your family and yourself.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
I think one thing I would like to do, actually, I know what I said I wanted to do. Here's what I would prefer to do. Okay. And you guys give me your thought process. If you don't like it, that's fine. Since we're not going to be there on Christmas and New Year's Day is already into the new year, how about reflecting onto what the year's brought each of our channels? Because I forgot to mention this Friday night. Big Valley Living just hit their 500.
Thank
Wow.
you.
That's
Nice.
exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay.
Yes.
Just
I just today hit 1065, blown away.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome.
You deserve
Good
it.
for
You deserve it.
You guys are all respectively in your own rights growing, and I think it might be nice for us to go back and say, what do we think the highlights were? What were the down points? Things like that. What do you guys
And
think?
what have we learned? Because
And-
we
and
were
I think
all
that's
over
a
the
great
board
idea,
at
too.
first, and we had to focus. So,
Yeah.
what did we learn to focus on? I'd like to talk about that.
I'm okay if you guys are okay with that.
okay.
And
And
that's
then
New
we'll do that New Year's, and then the following Sunday we'll jump into apps and forms and setting your pantry up and things like that. That sound good?
So is that going to be 31st or the 1st? Probably the 1st.
First.
All
I
right,
believe
yeah, we'll
if,
be there.
if my calendar is correct, it's the
We'll
first.
be there. It's the 1st. Yeah, we'll be there.
It's
I didn't
the
know if you
first,
wanted
yep.
to squeeze it back into December. Or
I
just
would
gonna kick
I would
off
like
January.
to, but
Yeah.
I know people got things going on, and just I don't know how active YouTube's gonna be that night. So I'm
Right.
just
Yeah.
we'll just do our normal schedule.
That is
and
true.
we'll do it that way. So
Okay.
What if we drop the ball? We stay up till midnight on YouTube and drop the ball, and we could show all the
if
parties.
you want to do that, I'm for it, but I don't know that
we could
everybody's
drop the
gonna
ball
be on board with
midnight.
that
Stay up
one.
till midnight. We'll get those little. We'll get a bottle of champagne.
Okay,
and
just for
everything.
clarification, Daniel, would that be your time zone or my time zone?
Right, exactly. My
I'm
time
happy to
zone.
accommodate his time zone.
Who's East Coast?
Right, who's on the East Coast? That
Georgia.
time zone.
Georgia, which would be Tiffany and Ginger.
It's
They're
Tiffany,
East Coast.
Ginger, and Joey's time.
Let's drop the ball Australia time.
No, we're good. I'm not doing that. Nothing against my Australian friends, but I'm not going back 2 days to celebrate that.
I'll take your time zone, Renee. 9 o'clock. I'll be in bed by 10.
We probably will too.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you, and that'll be the plan. And I think that's it. I can't think of anything else. Anybody else?
No.
No.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Holidays.
All right,
yeah,
guys.
happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. Thank you.
Safe travels.